Today we're taking you on an out-of-this-world adventure on Space Mountain at Magic Kingdom, Walt Disney World. This isn't your ordinary ride review. We're gonna share with you everything you've ever wanted to know about this ride. If you're a plus-size person, if you're tall, if you have mobility concerns, sensory concerns, cognitive concerns, if you're traveling with a child and you got a stroller, all of that's gonna be in this video. Stay tuned to the whole thing because you're gonna find information for your whole family. Welcome to Pammie Plus Parks. I am Pammie, your plus-size fairy godmother, and I'm super excited about sharing this really classic Disney ride with you. I want to specify that we're reviewing the ride at Magic Kingdom because the one at Disneyland is a little bit different than this one. The ride here at Magic Kingdom is more of a toboggan-style ride where you have your own lap bar. Before we get started, let me tell you a little bit about myself to help you decide if this ride will work for you. I am 5 feet 4 inches tall. I weigh 337 pounds, and today I'm wearing US women's sizes 28 in a pair of shorts and a 3X in a top. Now I do know of people who are 6'5" and over 350 pounds who've ridden this ride without any issue. So believe it or not, Space Mountain is size friendly, whether you're tall or you're large, or both. Now the seats may pose some problems with getting in and out of, especially if you have mobility concerns or you're plus size. However, I will show you the seats and I'll show you how I get on and off the ride. But before we get on the ride, I have to tell you a little bit about the queue. And there's a few things you need to know before you even get in line. Let's get started. For safety, you should be in good health and free from high blood pressure, heart, back, or neck problems, motion sickness, or other conditions that can be aggravated by the adventure. Expectant mothers should not ride, and you should supervise your children at all times. Persons who do not meet the minimum height requirement of 44 inches or 111 centimeters may not ride. If you're traveling with a small child who does not meet the height requirement, you can do rider swap for this. Check in with your cast member before you get in line and they'll explain to you everything you need to know about family rider swap. ECVs must transfer into a wheelchair for this queue. And then you must transfer from a wheelchair into the ride. The queue for this ride is wheelchair friendly. However, they don't allow strollers or ECVs. Neither will really fit through the line. Now, ECVs are not allowed to go through the queue because they're just too wide for the queue. But you can switch out into one of these wheelchairs provided by Disney free of charge for use in the line. There are two styles of chairs available. One's like these green ones, are pretty much a standard size chair. And they also have these red chairs, which are a little bit wider and more comfortable for plus size people. Once you've switched into a wheelchair or you're in your wheelchair, you can actually transfer into the ride. There's no transfer device to help you. If you think you're going to need assistance in transferring, let the cast members know in advance and make sure somebody in your party is there to help you transfer in and out of the vehicle. Cast members are really not allowed to touch you or help you in and out of the ride. Now, I've actually seen a couple of videos of people transferring into this vehicle from a wheelchair. I will link those videos down below so that you can watch them yourself. There are two queues for this ride. There's the standby entrance, and then over here to the right, if you can see it, there's a sign right there for the fast pass entrance. There is no single rider queue for this ride. My pro tip is to get here as early as possible in the morning and try to rope drop this ride.
Or other conditions that could be aggravated by this adventure, expectant mothers should not ride.
Now there are steps here, but over here is a ramp. So if you are in a wheelchair, they'll direct you to the ramp.
And remember that passengers appreciate
So that's 6 steps. And this is 6 steps. If you feel you can't manage those 2 sets of stairs that have 6 steps each, you can ask to use the wheelchair accessible queue. That part of the queue will bypass those steps. So these steep declines and the steep inclines happen throughout the queue if you are in a wheelchair or if you're in the regular standby line. If you happen to be in a wheelchair and someone's pushing you in that chair, they need to keep this in mind that there's going to be inclines and declines throughout the line. Just as you reach this last area where you go to board, you'll see a cast member member who will ask you how many people are in your party. And you want to make sure you let this cast member know what type of seat you'd like. If you're a tall person, if you're transferring from a wheelchair, or you're a plus size person, you're going to find that front seat the easiest to get in and out of. I've heard from people who are plus size that that second seat also works very well, but generally you will find the front seat gives you a little more room. It's okay for you to ask that cast member to sit in that front seat. If they don't have a front seat immediately available for you, they'll ask you to stand aside for a minute, and as soon as one comes open, they'll have you stand in line for that. And you'll see that there are some gates that open up to the side of the vehicle, and you can hang onto those gates to help you step onto the seat and then from the seat down onto the floor. Here I struggle a little bit, and I accidentally pulled the bar down as I was sitting. So do be careful of that you don't pull it down. I only had to press down a couple of clicks more, and I was right in place and ready to go. All right, let's take a look at what this ride is really like. As you can see, you make a quick little stop and the cast member checks your restraints and off you go. But you're actually seated in the vehicle for about a full minute and travel very slowly down the track before you actually have the ride kick in. And that's when you hit this tunnel with these blue flashing lights. And it kind of gives you the feeling that you're launching off in a rocket. Now these flashing blue lights are really cool. The sound effects are really cool, but those two things could cause some challenges for people who have sensory concerns. This coaster was built in the 1970s, so it has that sort of vibe to it, meaning it's not as smooth as coasters like Rock and Roller Coaster, Slinky Dog Dash, and Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. So it's a bit of a bumpy ride. So yeah, what you have is a coaster that is, short drops, short turns, and they're not super fast, but because you don't know where you're going and you can't see what's happening, it really makes it a lot more thrilling. A little over 2 minutes into the ride, you hit this red tunnel. This is a really neat effect, but this lighting and the sound that accompanies it can be a concern for people with sensory challenges. Shortly after the red tunnel, you'll find yourself in the unloading zone here. Mark was with me on this day, and he grabbed some footage of me getting out of the ride. So let's have a look at this. This ride can be a bit of a challenge for a large person to get out of, and here is the technique that I use. I lean far back into the seat and put a hand on either side of the seat back, and then I walk backwards using my feet and kind of shimmy up. Once I'm almost fully standing, I'm able to lean forward and grab a hold of the handrails outside of the ride. Using the handrail, I'm able to stand up. I keep one hand on the handrail to balance myself as I step up onto the seat with my right foot. Once I have my right foot on the seat, I then step out of the vehicle with my left foot. Now I'll do a little replay for you here, and if you look at the person who's behind me getting out of the ride, they're an average sized person, and they're using a very similar technique to exit the ride as well. So this is a technique that people of any size can use to get out of the vehicle. And I also want to point out that no cast members gave me any difficulty while I was taking my time getting out of this ride.
That was an exhilarating ride. What a great way to start the day.
All right, let's take a quick abbreviated look at what the exit for this ride looks like. Back in the day, they used to have like a moving walkway that you could stand on that would take you out of the ride. Now they don't. You have to walk the entire thing, or if you're in a wheelchair, have someone push you the entire way. Just like on the way in, there's inclines and there's declines, but there are no steps on the way out. It's just smooth surfaces. As you walk through, you'll see different sort of spacey scenes. But boy, oh boy, it is a long walk to get out. Take your time if you need to, rest along the way if you have to, stop and take some pictures of these great scenes, but just know that you're gonna have a long walk out.
That was an amazing ride. It is so much fun, and it's one of Disney's most classic rides. I know you'll really love it. Yes, there are other roller coasters that are a lot smoother and, just as thrilling, but you can't beat a classic. Thanks so much for joining me on Space Mountain today, but don't go away. I've got some videos here for you for Seven Dwarfs Mine Train and Slinky Dog Dash. Maybe one or two other videos for you to check out as well. Until the next time, remember, life is a roller coaster. Enjoy the ride.